All right, we are Dynasty Team, business strategy game for industry. All right, for our net revenues, we had a steady increase for year over year, and then our EPS it was a slightly a steady increase, but we did remain over the margin, over zero, except for in year 11. Our ROE, it was rather uh, a rather
Consistent.
yeah, decent. Year over year, our credit rating, we were very considerate on our credit. We took out, I think it was possibly two loans. And then as soon as we repaid that back, we had a steady cash flow from there. And then our stock price and from year 10 to year 15, it it was relatively low, and then it shot up from 15 to 20. And then our image rating, were we remained high, and then it fell following year 12. And then towards the end of it, our game, we started to work until it started to get up to 100%. And then for our strategic vision, we were most optimized around providing a high quality product, followed by sustainability and market expansion. And then another thing that helped us a lot, that I don't think that the other teams were cognizant of, was our celebrity endorsements. We weren't focused on maintaining all of the celebrities, but we did focus on maintaining the quality ones that were going to help us best provide our high quality product. And uh, we were more focused on our online retail over brick and mortars, and we didn't focus too much on on private. And then for our EPS, we were I believe it was 28 um, for year 20. So uh, we were looking to go 30 earnings per share for 2021, and then for 34, we were looking to get that to 34 earnings per share for 2022. We were looking to hold our ROE, and then followed by aiming to get our credit rating back to an A plus, and then retain our image rating.
So for our internet marketing strategy, we tried to have larger profit margins, with a large amount of advertising. And this didn't work as well as we wanted. And so later we still had large profit margins, but we made sure we were selling our shoes for the minimum of the 50% to 55% over wholesale price. And we still spent a decent bit on advertising, but not as much through the second half of the simulation. We found this helped us get and maintain a sizable market share. And the main strategy that we went with was making sure we had a high quality shoe. And this was the main reason why we were able to have such success. We were the only company really focused on this. And this shows when our SQ rating was about 7.2 for most of the simulation, and most other companies were around 4 or 5. Um, for our wholesale market strategy, our price point stayed constant for pretty much the whole second half. And we tried to spend a lot on advertising when we could afford it, but we didn't spend a lot all the time. We also try to maintain a very high SQ rating, like with internet market strategy, and we were the only company really to focus on this, helped our profits a lot. And we also gave retail strong support in the first half of the simulation, which I think also helped us get a sizable market share early on. And we mainly focused on Europe and North America first before selling more in Latin America and Asia, and those really ramped up the last 2 to 3 years of simulation. For our private label, um, do you want to go back to private label? All right, so for the first few years, we tried out private label, but it didn't work quite as well.
Hold on, my bad.
You're good. All right, so for the first few years, we tried private label and it didn't really work out as well as we hoped. Um, and so we kind of stopped doing it. We did it a couple of years, try to mess with it some more. And at the end, we managed to get around 15% market share in Europe. And I think if we did this simulation again, we would try to stick with private label and focus on getting around that 15% market share in each um, in Europe, Latin America, Asia, and North America instead of just Europe at the end. And I think this might have been enough to put us in first, but that remains to be seen. So for our finance, we took out a big loan at the beginning of the simulation and more towards the middle. And the main reason why we did this, the first time was to hire celebrities, and one in particular, the Jimmy Kimmel, and the second time was mainly to increase production as well as we needed to hire another celebrity. Um, and our EPS started out at -1, but we managed to increase it to 28 by the end of the simulation, with a weighted average of around 10. And our ROE started at -10 and increased to about 50 with an weighted average of around 34. And we never ended up offering dividends, but we've we tried to buy back as much stock as possible every week that we could afford. Unfortunately, when our stock price rose dramatically, we kind of weren't able to buy nearly as much as we would have wished. So maybe going back again, we would try to buy more stock earlier on. And we managed to get our credit up to an A- by the end of the simulation, which was very good because it was around a C for a lot of it.
Production strategy, Dynasty did little in the way of compensation and training. We didn't change much except for fringe benefits. I cut it from $3,000 to $1,500 for both North America and Asia facilities. For our branded production, the company focused on keeping total quality management, enhanced styling as low as it's profitable. But it was important that our pairs to be manufactured matched or exceeded the total brand production needed for each year. The strategy for the production facilities involved purchasing new equipment when needed to increase the pairs to be manufactured. In order to improve production, the company made layout revisions to reduce production run setup costs by 50% and purchase of special equipment to increase the SQ rating by 1 star in both North America and Asia facilities. There were occasional increases in construction space to North America and Asia facilities, with one more final increase to Europe, Africa, and Latin America facilities in the final year. For competitors,
So, continue.
I'm sorry. For competitors, our biggest competitors in the private label are Elephants and Triple H. These were our biggest competitors in wholesale, and the largest they have a private label. The lessons we learned from all this. I'm sorry, I thought we were doing three of each.
Hmm?
Okay, I thought we were doing three of each.
Oh yeah, this is yours.
I'm sorry. All right, the lessons learned. We need to focus more on the private labels and practice more during the practice week of the simulation. And we need to be more aggressive to our celebrity contracts. We also need to pay more attention to our production facilities.
I think that's it.
How do we end the recording?